The reason you stop a business, a vision, or anything worthy of your time is because it doesn't work, correct? But what if you have your metrics wrong? What if the supposed indicator for success is flawed? An accurate understanding of what I'm about to share today would revolutionize your whole approach towards the success standpoint. In my own life, at least while I was coming up at the infancy of whatever I was doing, I had this goal to make $100,000 annually. The various consecration demands, the goal, which is the outcome, $100,000, then the daily habits, the trivia I pay towards that destination kept piling up. And guess what happened after a year? Nothing. Nothing. That was enough to drive any sane man into heights of despondency, unimaginable. A few months later, a friend invited me to this networking center where everyone's supposed to meet up, share ideas, things of that sort. But you know how I feel about those kind of events. I think it's stupid. If every single person gathers to one place for the sole purpose of selling, who then becomes the buyer? Please understand, everybody who left their house has one intention: to meet someone, to sell something. Who becomes the buyer? And the counter argument might be, you would meet someone who would later need your services in the future. Guess what? Later is long term. If you're desperate enough to attend a networking event, it's most likely the key expression is desperate. You need results now. You don't have time to go to a networking event. You need someone who will buy your products, invest in your business, do business now. The networking event is a long-term game, and I'm not trying to discourage you from it. What you believe is what works. If you truly believe that's your pathway to success, then by all means, just speaking from personal experience. Anyways, I went there, killed it as usual. I met XYZ. We later did business, but that's a different discourse in and of itself. The point I'm trying to highlight is, leading up to the event, I did not prepare. I didn't watch videos. I didn't go online and analyze body language, how to walk, how to talk. I didn't necessarily script a story about my business. All of the things you learn is inherent to me. That's my essence. That's what I embody. I don't need to learn all of those things. It's registered in my mind. So as a professional, how did I learn all of that? The previous goals. So although I didn't get the outcome, which is $100,000, there were habits that proved youthful beyond imagination. So sometimes the goal is not the outcome. The goal is the process. I'll recount the story of a man who was tasked to push a boulder up the hill. And after weeks of struggling with this stone, it refused to budge. Week turns into month, months into years, years into decades. Finally, he gave up. He just stopped. He just stopped doing it. But as he turned, he noticed something very interesting. His hands had become wider, his fists more callous, his bones more dense, thicker jawline. If that same man decides to go into any combat sport or any sport that requires physicality, he would excel. You don't need to teach him about adversity. You don't need to teach him about strength. You don't need to try and encourage a good physique. He embodies all of that. So once he wins the championship title at any echelon in his first few years, you're most likely going to think it's luck. But all of the previous events has led to that one goal. Alex Pereira, for instance, knocking out people cold. He started in a tire shop. The endurance, the difficulty it takes to remove that X from the tire most likely calloused his bones. Again, I'm not trying to reduce all his efforts to one sentence. That's far from it. Just for illustration purposes. I want you to analyze your life. Look at the goals you're trying to achieve. Observe the process. What has this process done for you? How has it transformed you? Did it make you a better person? What did you learn from the pursuit of that goal? Once you have that, motivation falls to the wayside. It is quickly discovered that you have something far better than money, than finances, than the outcome. You've learned, you've grown, you've done things. Sometimes the goal is not the outcome. The goal is the process. As always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.